The Old West era was thrilling, filled with cowboys, Native Americans, and outlaws. These incredibly rare images, recently unearthed, bring to life in a truly remarkable way what we had previously only seen in classic movies. In this picture, we can see 19th century entrepreneurs on horseback while searching for the mineral borax in Death Valley, located in California. This location is recognized as one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth, situated at a depth of 282 feet below sea level and having recorded the highest air temperature ever documented on the planet. John Wilson Vermillion, also known by the nickname Texas Jack, is one of the legendary figures of the Old West who left an indelible mark on American frontier history. He gained fame for his collaboration with the Earps, the famous law enforcement family, in their forays seeking vengeance against outlaw cowboys. Annie Oakley, arguably one of the most renowned names of the Old West, solidified her fame when she was just 15 years old due to her exceptional shooting skills. Her story is even more remarkable when considering that at the tender age of 8, she began honing skills such as shooting, trapping animals, and hunting to support her impoverished family after the tragic death of her father. Jesse James is widely recognized as a notorious American outlaw whose career spanned various roles, including his involvement as a guerrilla, gang leader, bank and train robber. Unfortunately, like many other outlaws of his time, he is also associated with acts of murder. This Old West saloon in Michigan bears notable similarities to many contemporary bars. The overall layout of saloons and bars has remained remarkably consistent over the past 150 years, as we can clearly observe in this impressive photograph. Olive Oatman endured a harrowing ordeal at the age of 14 when her parents were killed by a Native American tribe. She and her younger sister were taken captive as slaves, and a year later were sold to a Mojave tribe. During this time, both sisters were marked with chin tattoos, and sadly, the younger sister succumbed to malnutrition and passed away. Elk and Black Elk, the names they received in their respective native tribes, played prominent roles in Buffalo Bill's famous Wild West show. Both embarked on a world-traveling journey as part of the show, and became renowned for their performance of Dance with Shells and Bells. Native Americans had a specific term to refer to African Americans who served in the United States Army: Buffalo Soldier. This historical designation is widely recognized, and as suggested by Bob Marley's famous song, holds significant cultural and historical significance. Geronimo, as the leader of the Apache people, played a crucial role in uniting various Native American tribes in resistance against their American and Mexican adversaries. He served as a powerful symbol and advocate for the tribes, working tirelessly to protect them from stigmatization and being labeled as savages by other groups. These women either followed their husbands and families in the quest for gold, or arrived on their own in search of wealth and financially successful partners. Besides mining, other popular occupations for women included domestic work, such as housekeeping, cooking, and laundry, as well as performing and dancing. Curly, a young 17-year-old scout, was an eyewitness to Custer's fall at Little Bighorn and was one of the first to report the incident. His notoriety quickly grew when the story spread that he was the sole survivor of the battle. Curly had limited proficiency in English and communicated exclusively through sign language. Wild Bill Hickok, whose skill with firearms was legendary, gained renown as the fastest and most accurate gunslinger in the Old West. His proficiency with revolvers and exceptional accuracy made him an iconic figure on the American frontier. However, the mythology that formed around Hickok includes the suggestion that he may have eliminated more than 100 individuals in his lifetime. In the 1800s, the gold, silver, and copper mining industry emerged as one of the most profitable of the time. Mine magnates and owners amassed considerable fortunes from these operations, while miners, often facing adverse and dangerous conditions, also had the opportunity to earn substantial amounts of money. In the Old West, owning a firearm was considered essential for survival, and many cowboys took pride in posing for photographs with their guns. This was partly because photography was a novelty of the time, and cowboys saw it as an opportunity to document their lives and showcase their prowess with firearms. In the 19th century, mobility was a common feature of life, and people often embarked on westward journeys in search of new life opportunities. In this photograph, we can see a couple who made a stop on their journey through Kansas, a vivid example of the adventurous spirit and the quest for a better future that characterized that era. Undoubtedly, the main attraction of Buffalo Bill's show was its cast of cowboys and their impressive shooting performances. The most skilled gunmen of the West were recruited to be part of the show, but not without first undergoing rigorous tests to prove their marksmanship and expertise. The man depicted in the Kansas City newspaper, wearing the characteristic 19th century attire of the Old West, stands out for his use of the iconic Mexican sombrero. This piece of clothing played a crucial role in surviving the harsh and unforgiving weather conditions of the American West. Bill Bloody, born in 1840, followed a dark path to become a notorious gang leader. During the Civil War, he channeled his anger and hostility, often killing Union soldiers whenever he had the opportunity. In a tragic episode, he led his gang in an attack that resulted in the deaths of 20 soldiers and a massacre that claimed the lives of more than 100 individuals. Before the turn of the 20th century, Pearl Hart gained notoriety as a stagecoach robber. In a bold move, she cut her hair and dressed in men's clothing as part of her disguises. However, her criminal career came to an abrupt end when she was sentenced to serve a 5-year prison term. Traveling through the Wild West was an extraordinarily risky endeavor. Many affluent travelers found themselves compelled to hire armed men to ensure their safety while traversing unfamiliar and often perilous routes. The presence of gunmen and experienced guides was essential for confronting natural threats like wild predators and harsh weather conditions. Belle Starr is undoubtedly one of the most famous female outlaws of the Wild West. Her birth name was Myra Maybelle Shirley Reed Starr, although her family affectionately called her May. An iconic figure, she was often seen carrying 2 pistols on her waist. Belle Starr met her tragic end in 1889, leaving behind a history filled with adventures and controversies. Rose Dunn, also known as Rose of Cimarron, fell in love with George Bitter Creek Newcomb, a Wild West outlaw, after being introduced to him by her own brothers. Her love story with an outlaw adds an intriguing layer to the narrative of the romantic and complex figures of the Old West. Chinese railroad workers faced unequal working conditions during the construction of railroads in the United States. They received significantly lower daily wages, around $1, compared to the approximately $2.50 paid to other workers. Additionally, Chinese laborers were responsible for setting up their own camps and procuring their own food, while white workers received these benefits provided by the company. This disparity in treatment was a clear example of discrimination and exploitation against Chinese laborers during that era. Spotted Elk, also known as Little Bigfoot, was a respected chief of the Lakota Sioux tribe, but he met a tragic fate in the Wounded Knee Massacre of 1890. In this terrible battle, 152 other Native Americans, including women and children, were brutally killed and massacred by United States Army soldiers. Unlike most Old West outlaw groups, the Rufus Buck gang was an unusual composition, consisting of members from diverse ethnic backgrounds, including Creek Indians and African American outlaws. However, their series of crimes and store robberies in states like Oklahoma and Arkansas ultimately led to their capture. The Texas Rangers, established in 1823 to protect Texas following the Mexican War of Independence, became a notorious law enforcement group in the Old West. They had a tough reputation and were known for confronting a variety of infamous outlaws, including the legendary bank robber Sam Bass, in confrontations that often resulted in deadly shootouts. William Cody, better known as Buffalo Bill, indeed created an extremely popular show about the Old West in 1883, known as Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show. This traveling show toured the United States and other countries for several decades, becoming one of the most iconic attractions of its time. Maimon, a member of the Mojave tribe, became known for his role as a guide and interpreter in the Colorado region during the 1870s and the 19th century. His skill in assisting travelers and explorers on their journeys through the wild landscapes of the American West was invaluable. Many madams and notorious prostitutes played significant roles in Old West towns, and some of them achieved surprising notoriety and wealth. These women undertook risky ventures, often facing harsh conditions, including inclement weather, in addition to the social challenges and physical dangers they encountered. The Sioux Nation is indeed one of the largest and most renowned tribes that inhabited the Great Plains of North America. Under the same banner, the Sioux Nation is composed of 3 distinct tribes: Eastern Dakota, Western Dakota, and the Lakota tribes. These nomadic tribes of the Great Plains region relied on buffalo hunting for their survival and way of life. Gambling was indeed an extremely popular pastime in the Old West, especially during the 19th century. This form of entertainment was widely practiced in towns and villages along the western frontier of the United States. In fact, some of the earliest buildings constructed during that time were gambling halls, where games like poker, roulette, and dice were often played. Whirling Horse was indeed one of the members of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. These shows featured Native Americans from various tribes, often referred to as show Indians, and were known for authentically representing various cultural traditions and skills of Native American tribes. Buffalo Bill Cody valued diversity and authenticity in his show, and Native Americans played significant roles in the performance, contributing to a vivid portrayal of the American West and its culture.